Welcome to the Awakening to Abundance podcast. I'm your host, Athena. This podcast is more than a podcast, it's a transformative journey designed to help you awaken to your abundance. For you to discover what living the fullness of life means to you. As always, we're jumping right in with today's episode. Hello. Welcome to Sedona. We are live from Sedona, and we will be live from Sedona for a couple more weeks. In fact, probably 4 more weeks. There is this beautiful realignment, refinement of this energy, of this group, of the way that I am doing things as we move forward. So this particular group is moving toward being a place where we can tune in, tap in, and really feel deep transmissions. We're moving away from so much noise and getting back to alignment. Coming home to ourselves. Feeling the inner wisdom that is us. With that being said, let's take a moment to really ground in today. So I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable seat. Maybe lay down if that feels good to you. Take any movements, adjust your body so that way it can feel relaxed. And just start to breathe with me. Deeply inhaling and deeply exhaling. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, your body knows it's safe to just be in this moment. So let's take a couple more. And if it feels good, make an audible sigh. If it feels good, put a hand on your heart or maybe any place in your body where you're feeling like you want to nurture. A few more deep breaths here. Really centering into this present moment. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So today we're going to talk a little bit about intentionality and how that is part of refinement. When you slow down enough, you become more intentional about what you're doing. And there are times when you realize what you're doing is no longer serving you in the ways that it used to serve you. And you can make the intention to come back into alignment, back into authenticity. And oftentimes, refinement is coupled with moving to your next level, up leveling in whatever area that might be for you, and finding what it is that you want to step into with this new up level, with this new energy. Being really intentional about all the growth and expansion you've had. Seeing that, celebrating that, but also moving forward intentionally. Noticing the things that are no longer aligned for you and consciously deciding to refine. Consciously deciding what you're going to let go of and what you're going to expand into. So that way you can actually feel, be in the energy of, just the embodiment of all that we're talking about. So, the first thing that we're talking about today is that intentionality. And intentionality is also not only taking the time to slow down and see everything for what it is, moving into a broader perspective of what you have done, who you have been, but also where you're going, what you're expanding into, and carrying the things that continue to serve you while lessening the things that are no longer fulfilling you. And intentionally deciding how you're going to show up based on all of that and where your energy is. When you're looking at what you're going to continue to do or be or have, really looking at your energy around what fills you up, what lights you up, and the things that are no longer something that your heart actually desires to do, but feels more like something you were told you needed to do. So again, whether that's in your business, whether that's in your family life, whatever that might be for you. And also, from a strategic place, from a rational place, does it make sense anymore? A lot of the times, when we're up leveling, when we're moving into new aspects of ourselves, into new expansion, we tend to have that old patterning and conditioning come up at this new level. And this is where you get to see that and decide something different for yourself. So that is the intentionality that goes into refinement. When you take the time to be intentional, to pivot in new direction, to become something different, you create space by pausing things. And it doesn't mean that you won't necessarily pick them up again in the future. It just means that you're giving yourself the space, the permission to do something differently, to set things down. And we need to be able to give ourselves the permission to sometimes pause and sometimes set down things for our expansion. And yes, sometimes even quit things, stop things altogether. And that is 100% okay and, in fact, necessary for your expansion. So it's a big part of refinement and being intentional. It is what elevates you to the next level. And these are all the things. This is the pattern of elevation. You experiencing refinement and intentionality and going through all this, you will have this at every level of your expansion. So as you are expanding, getting comfortable with this process is incredibly helpful because you'll then notice as you're expanding into new levels. This is a great time for intentionality, for refinement, for slowing down a little bit more and choosing how I move into this next level. Because here's what we don't do, especially in this group. We do not force. We do not believe in the hustle culture. We do not fake it till we make it. We do not push ourselves. None of that is in alignment. None of that feels authentic. And honestly, when we come from that state of consciousness, we know we get more of that because that's what we are perpetuating. And we also know that that tends to be the grasping, the energy that is not magnetic, but is desperation. And so as you're refining, as you're being intentional, if you find yourself moving back into those thoughts or that question of, ooh, can I actually set this down? Because if I set this down, then maybe all these other things won't work out. That is you basing your expansion on what your previous conditioning and patterning told you. And it is difficult to go to another level, to go into the unknown. Our brain wants to keep us safe. Our brain wants to say, no, do the things that you always have done because they work. You've seen it work. And yes, they have. They've worked. But at that level. And expansion is stepping into a new level. It means doing things differently. So even when your ego or your mind chatter comes in and says, wait, I can't set this down. I've got to post 5 times a day, or I've got to be online and respond to everybody, or I have to be there for my family in every single thing that they're doing. And I also have to make sure the house is clean. And I also have to do this, and this. How exhausting does that feel? That is not the refinement. That is not the energy. And at each new level, you'll see this feeling of ease in your body and how good it feels. And you'll want to continue to move toward that. So allow yourself during this period to feel into that. Feel into what your body is actually saying feels good, and follow that, because that is the intuition. That is your energy speaking to you. That is what really moves you into your next level with ease, without the force. You have nothing to prove, and you do not need to tolerate misaligned actions in what you're doing. You're looking for the ease. You're looking for the alignment. And I'm certainly not saying that action is not needed in this 3D life. Action is very much needed. But I'm talking about the inspired action. I'm talking about the action that is aligned and is authentic and feels really exciting to move into. That is the difference between moving into your expansiveness and setting down what no longer serves you. And here's the other thing about force. When we come from force, we tend to plateau in anything that we're doing. We are not allowing ourselves to expand at the level and the rate that we truly can, and that our soul is asking us to do, because we're still trying to force it, as opposed to open and expand to the infinite possibilities that there really truly is. So it holds you back when we come from that place. You plateau easier, and you don't move into this intentionality and this refinement as easily as you could. And again, earlier we talked about how important it is to get used to this process, so that way you can see when your next up level is coming. You can even intentionally move into that next energy, into that next up level, into your expansion that's meant for you. So what does it look like on the other side of this? What does refinement as kind of an end result look like? Of course, there's no end result. Expansion continues, so refinement continues. But it looks like clarity. It looks like celebration of where you've been and clarity of where you're going. It looks like standards learning lessons, setting down things that no longer serve you, and really putting in an energetic standard of how you're going to show up, how you're going to be, how you're going to look at life from now on. Sticking to those standards, not because you told yourself, I'm going to stick to the standard from a forceful place, but from an aligned place, because this is who you are. This is who you are becoming. This is who you're stepping into. This is who you are. It's an aligned standard. And again, setting down, subtracting what no longer serves you. Moving into quiet contemplation, intentionality. Intentionally choosing your environment, intentionally choosing your community, and intentionally moving into who you are becoming. So as we move forward in this beautiful time of refinement, I invite you to look at life and see, is there a place where I would like to move into my expansion, up level, and maybe not even those things, maybe just look at how life can be a little bit more easeful. How can you refine your life now to create the baseline to move into expansion? How could you start to set down some of the things that are no longer serving you to create the space for refinement and expansion? Allow this to become your baseline. Allow yourself to move through life this way, from this state of consciousness. That's what we're doing here. That's what you're going to see more of. Less noise, more intentionality, deeper transmissions. I will be with you again next week live, most likely on Thursday. And I am excited for your expansion and for your refinement. Till next time. Thank you for listening to this podcast episode and being part of this community. I want to hear from you. Email me at podcast@abundancewithathena.com or DM me on Instagram at abundancewithathena and share with me your stories. And until next time, keep awakening to the abundance that's always within you.